Tell me what you're doing here today.
Well, today we came to address Colonel Riddle to discuss with him the current mental health crisis that veterans and soldiers are seeking, and seeing what he's doing about it on Fort Drum. As acting base commander, he has the authority to fix the crisis, such as an absence of psychiatric beds for soldiers who are suicidal.
Talk about your group here today. What, are you all veterans?
We've assembled about 30-plus veterans spanning from World War II on, members of Iraq Veterans Against the War, Veterans for Peace, among other veteran organizations, Vietnam Veterans Against the War as well. And we've came here to address and tackle this current mental health crisis issue that is, and we've decided to target Fort Drum because Fort Drum is one of the most highly deployed military bases in America.
Are you an Iraq vet yourself?
I am an Iraq vet.
What has your experience been like since you've been home?
Yeah, it's been pretty difficult. I mean, if you want to read in the paper about, anyone who suffers from PTSD or, major depression issues, I've pretty much covered a lot of that with my personal experience, everything ranging from insomnia to suicidal thoughts myself. And so this is definitely an issue that touches very personally with me, and I think that it's an issue that doesn't need to, because there is a crisis and there's a real lack of coverage in the military and in the Department of Defense and in the Veterans Affairs Department to address this issue. No, I'm not. I think that this issue demands an immediate attention because, I think it's a pretty outcry. One day may be too late. One more suicide is too much. Well, I think a start would be to afford some beds in the psychiatric unit. Another thing that he can address would be with the base commander, General Oates, would be to instead of alienating and shaming those who suffer from PTSD and symptomatic and behavioral issues, such as getting DWI arrests, instead of pasting their pictures in local newspapers and shaming them and having them alienated from their friends and family and their community, he could address the underlying issue of mental health, because chances are, and not even chances are, it's definite that these people who are getting these DWI arrests aren't just alcoholics, but that they're self-medicating. But I can give you I've got them in my truck, but I came unprepared. Say again? We're actually an international organization. We have members overseas in Germany, and we also have, we're over 1,200 strong now throughout the country. Our national office is in Philadelphia with really strong leadership all up and down the East Coast and actually throughout the country.
Where did you all come from today?
Well, we've assembled from as far northeast as Burlington. I personally came from Rochester. We've had people come from Buffalo, and as far south as Washington, D.C. As far east as Massachusetts.
Are you going to keep calling Colonel Riddle, or are you going to let this?
We're going to take this. We're not going to stop with this issue. This is something that's important. It's very dear to many people's hearts. And I think with the recent release of the RAND Corporation study, 300,000 plus projected to be symptomatic of major depression and PTSD. I think that it's closer to a lot more people's hearts than the mainstream public and everyone knows.
Is there a way to get the study? Is it online?
Yeah, actually, I have a copy of it back at the Different Drummer. I'd be happy to share it with you. And if you want to follow us back there, that'd be great.
Is that right in the paddock over there?
The arcade? Yep.
Yeah, right in the arcade.
Okay. Like I said, I'm from Rochester, so. Yeah, absolutely. I'll meet you there. Cool. I don't know if you guys got questions. General, no, we didn't speak with General Oates. We spoke with Colonel Riddle, who's the acting base commander. Colonel Oates wouldn't give us an immediate audience because he's a politician, I believe. No, I'm not really. He wouldn't because he's probably, I think his response is indicative of the general attitude towards veteran and soldier mental health issues, to be honest with you. I think that it's really it's not an important issue within the military. They want to deny that it's even an issue, and so his response was predictable. But it's not going unnoticed, and it's also not going to be unchallenged. We're not going to stop here.
Talking to Bryan, what did she say to you?
I didn't speak to a local politician. No. I went around the back and spoke to Colonel Riddle after he walked off stage away from everyone else, and I shook his hand and I said, I look forward to my 15 minutes with you. And he real smirkingly said, public relations, and walked away. So and then I talked to the public relations guys, and I said, hey, so I guess you're the expert I should talk to about mental health, right? He says, no, we schedule everything for Colonel Riddle. Obviously, this is not an issue, even though more veterans are dying from their own hands of suicide every day than combat-related deaths. I mean, if our country only knew what this war was costing them, it'd be over today. It's unfortunate.
The real human effect on this country, it spans even beyond dollar figures. It's a human cost, and like he just said, more veterans, more people of these current occupations are dying by their own hands, and that's not even a crisis. That's a pandemic. It spans so much farther beyond any kind of financial, economic issue that anyone could bring to the table with the war. This crosses political boundaries. This crosses any type of boundary that you can relate. Because I think anyone in their right mind can agree that veterans, deserve, first off, comprehensive health care, so that we're not offing each other and offing ourselves in record numbers that exceed combat figures, KIA figures.
Let me also mention that, I mean, homeless people, or veterans make up 25% of all homeless people, but they only make up 10% of the population. So that means I'm 2.5 times more likely to be homeless. Also, veterans of the global war on terrorism are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than the general population. So I mean, I'm 2.5 times more likely to be homeless. I'm 4 times more likely to commit suicide. What good is VA treatment that comes too late? Your initial claim for veterans health care is 183 days. The appeal process 971 days. If that's wrong, your appeal process over that is over 1,200 days, and the appeal process of that is over 300 days. What that basically means, after 7.5 years, you only have a 75% chance of being accurately rated for disability. That's absolutely ridiculous. Most veterans don't even have the gut to go through the VA system and the red tape and the bureaucracy after their initial judgment. So it's really sad. Even if you are able to have the time to afford to stick it out for 7.5 years, only 3 out of 4 veterans are going to be properly rated, and that's from the VA's own statistics, which, if anything, are inflated. So.
Tell me about this last week and a half or so, and what it's been like, and what you guys have done and gone through.
What we've done and gone through as an organization, or as assembling here in Watertown?
No, just the whole trip, the walk and everything you guys have done.
Sure. Well, what we started as 3-meter marches, one in Ithaca, Rochester, and Utica, and we were highlighting the economic cost and the financial burden that the rural communities have to endure, and what we're hoping to do is spark more of a community resistance and demand that.
What are some of those
Say again?
The economics issues of it?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, what we're not here today to address is the economic issues, but what we are here to do is to gain an audience and to highlight the mental health issues and the crisis with mental health with soldiers, such as 18 veterans a day killing themselves, 1,000 attempts a day, 1,000 attempts a month of suicide in the veteran population. That's ridiculous. This translates into 6,570 veterans a year killing themselves, which is more than have been killed in action in Iraq.
Tell me, finally, what your goal is to get out of it, and what do you eventually hope will happen here?
Well, we hope to hammer out some details with Colonel Riddle and carry this message on throughout every post and every base in America, so that we can get the mental health crisis under control, and so that people aren't offing themselves in record numbers.
Anything else? Did I miss anything?
Good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate it.